Welcome in. It is day 66, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. You know, we've been going over a lot of games. Here we are closing in on, a week into month 3, and each month I've kind of brought one of these out, and I feel like it's time to bring out what was my favorite up until the most recent one. I'm bringing out today Azul Summer Pavilion. As I said, up until the most recent Queen's Garden, this had been my favorite. I absolutely loved the play style of this game, how it changed from that initial Azul. The idea of, all right, well, you're still going to be drafting, and you're going to be drafting the same way that you did before, but now, when you draft, one, we have wilds. Wilds was a really cool idea. Hey, depending on the round you're in, different color becomes wild. 2, you're not just placing this out and going for 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. Instead, you've got flowers, essentially, and you're trying to build the petals of the flower. You still have that concept, but now it's a payout. All right, well, I need to make sure when I get to the making of the points, depending on totals I have, that I can drop 1 to put it here and 2 to put it here. And I'm going to get points based on if they're touching. And it was a very different idea that still allowed for that scoring idea of linking and for the loss of points because you weren't linking them, but you didn't really have that same concept of, well, it was touching here to the next line, and so that pointed out as well. You kind of lost that, but in its place, you got this way of getting bonus tiles. Hey, we've surrounded this spot, so now off of the center tile, we're going to be able to grab a bonus tile. But they don't replenish until the end of the round, so if somebody else ends up wiping them out and you have a bunch of things to do, it could end up just being gone. It's all depending because we're 1 by 1 taking turns on putting our stuff down. So know what you're doing when. It's a really cool concept. I think they did a very good job with it. But let's jump into the game and really discuss our 7 categories. Category 1, the art. So this game is an abstract game. The box I think is beautiful, and you think about that initial Azul box, and now you look at this one, and I feel like this was a jump up. And you look at your player mats, the center mat, the colors of everything. I really think it's a beautifully put together game. And the idea is it is abstract. So you have to realize that. Not just the design of the game as far as its presentation, but the game itself is abstract. That's part of what sells its art and makes it so you know what you're getting for a game. I've had games that have designs kind of like this on the front where I don't like it because it doesn't sell the theme or the style of the game. This does. It's a big thumbs up from me. Your components. I've said this about the original Azul, and I'm going to hold out for this Azul as well. Those tiles are some of my favorite components in all of board games. They're really well designed. They're sharp looking. They're not going to get broken or scratched up or anything like that. You've also got your player mats, and they're really nice. I think this is an amazingly well put together component. It's a thumbs up. Your price. Now, Azul is available usually in most stores, and you're going to find this in most likely your Barnes & Noble and occasionally your Target. This may not be the one you find. Just like how Queen's Garden's great, but it's newer and it's hard to find in places, it tends to be the original Azul that you find, or it's just one of the 3. Azul, Azul Stained Glass, or Azul Summer Pavilion. So it's out there. Definitely you'll find it online. It just may not be in those, Barnes & Nobles and Targets as often as you'd like, because I think if you're going to find one of the 3, it's going to be the original Azul, not Summer Pavilion. That being said, this is a pretty cheap game. It's only about $40. This size box, to me, that's the price range I'm hoping for. You're looking at 40 to 50 usually. This is a 40. It's great. I think it's a big thumbs up on price. Your difficulty. Now, the way I've kind of explained the Azul games is the reason I like Queen's Garden is I feel it finally jumped that difficulty level. On a 1 to 5 scale, that one tends to be a solid 3, whereas these are in the 2 area. Now, I do think there's that range, and this one tends to be near the top of that 2 area. I think that there's a lot more to do here than the original Azul. That being said, experts, experienced, and beginner players should be able to play this game. Yes, young kids, this might be outside their range, but I think that when you're talking about the average gamer, this will be fine. It's a thumbs up. Replayability. The replayability is that this is a game that can be played, I think, on a weekly basis, maybe even a couple times a week. It's not going to be one you necessarily want to go a bunch of games in a row of. Once in a while, sure, but in general, no. I don't think that's what it is. But I think this is a at home with your family or with your occasional game of friends game. It's not one I'm going to pull out from my game nights. It's not one that I'm going to be throwing to the table when it comes to going out and meeting up with friends elsewhere. But when I'm at the house and I'm hosting people, I host my family, I host my friends. This is an easy one to pull out and put on the the dining room table or bring in the living room, toss it on a coffee table and be able to play real easily. Even bring it into the backyard. I don't like to bring games outside, but this is one you could bring outside and play at the picnic table because it's not going to get blown away. It's not going to get ruined by stuff. It's going to be fine. It's a thumbs up. Your keys to victory. The keys to victory of this game are vast. What do you want to do? Do you want to go all in on one color and try to really max it out and see if you can get the max points there and get the bonus points for completing all of, its pieces? Or do you want to go all in and try to make sure that you get all of the sixes so that you're getting all of the bonus points for sixes? Are you going to go in on that idea of getting all the wild tiles? Because the more that you can get the wild tiles, it's going to help you to be able to go for that next round, knocking something out you couldn't have got before. Or are you more interested in trying to get the bonus tiles so that you can build up? You're allowed to carry 4 tiles per round to the next one. So maybe you're going to be going in on the strategy of I'm going to get bonus tiles. I'm going to make sure I get all the ones that are going to be wild next round. I'll save them. And the next round I can use those and do it all over again and get the next round's bonus tiles. There's a lot of ways to do it. I don't think there's any particular way that's better than the others, except knowing what is your opponent or opponents doing and be able to master, okay, to counter them, do this because they're clearly going in this direction. But there's nothing to me that's obvious. I think they all are very good choices. It's a thumbs up. Finally, unique. I think this is different than the other Azuls, but at the end of the day, when you're looking at now 4 different Azul games, and you think of games like, say, Sagrada, where it has kind of the feel of the theme, and you think of other tile placement games, I don't know. It doesn't stand out enough for me. It's a great game. I love having it. But definitely, if I'm in the idea of, hey, I want to build this thing with build my flower design, I can play a game that's going to allow me that in Sagrada, where, yes, they're doing stained glass, but the idea of, you're still building it. If I want to play a tile placement, maybe I want to play patchwork. If I want to feel out an Azul, it depends on the Azul I'm in the mood for that day and what type of design I'm going for. There's plenty of options. I just don't think it's unique enough. I think Queen's Garden stands out from the bunch, but of the other 3, I just don't feel like one of them necessarily stands out from each other enough. So it's a thumbs down on unique. Overall, what do I think of this game? I love this game. It is of that original trilogy my favorite. Queen's Garden is edged out for now, but we'll see where we are in another year when I've gotten used to Queen's Garden and I can now judge it a little bit more accordingly again. But I really enjoy this game, and I highly recommend everybody should play it. And I think that you need to own at least one of those original 3. And for me, this is the one I'd recommend of the 3 to own. I think that one of those is important to have. I think Queen's Garden is separate. Own it by itself. This, I definitely think, could be the lead of those other 3 to own if you have a chance. But that's just my opinion. You're going to have to give it a try and come up with your own opinion and just see where it really lands for you. Well, this has been day 65. We've been talking about Azul Summer Pavilion. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below because I'll be adding in the Amazon link in the description to see if you're interested and you want to go pick it up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.